Welcome to Shadow of Truth, Unknown Number, the High School Catfish, the first text. Before we dive into this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story, it starts with a text no one should ever get. It was supposed to be just another Monday at Ridgefield High, a quiet suburban school tucked between Oregon's gray hills and pine-lined streets. But by noon, half the senior class was talking about one thing: Hannah Williams and the messages she'd been getting. The first one came late Friday night. No name, no profile picture, just a number. "Hey, I saw you today. You looked different." At first, Hannah thought it was a joke. She laughed it off, replied with a single word. "Who?" The answer came seconds later. "You'll see soon." By Saturday, the tone had changed. The messages started arriving every few hours, and each one felt more personal. The texter mentioned the color of her hoodie, the song she listened to on the bus, even what time she got home. It wasn't random. Whoever it was, they knew her schedule. When Hannah told her best friend Alyssa, she joked nervously, "Maybe I've got a stalker." Alyssa didn't laugh. "You think it's someone from school?" Hannah shrugged. "It's got to be. Who else would care what bus I take?" By Sunday, things got darker. "You don't have to ignore me. I can be nice if you want. You looked sad today. Don't worry, I'll fix that." She blocked the number. Within minutes, another appeared. The same tone, the same words. By Monday morning, Hannah was on edge. She walked into Ridgefield's front hall, clutching her phone like a lifeline. Students brushed past her, laughing, talking about weekend parties, while she scrolled through dozens of messages that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. By lunch, word had spread. Someone was messaging Hannah, and not just her. 3 other girls quietly admitting they'd gotten strange texts too. Anonymous, persistent, all from different numbers. "Someone's messing with us," one said. "Probably a prank." But when Hannah showed them her phone, their faces changed. The messages weren't just creepy, they were specific. The texter described things no stranger could know. What earrings she wore on Thursday, what book she borrowed from the library, even a conversation she'd had in the parking lot when no one else was around. That was the moment everyone realized this wasn't a prank. By afternoon, the principal had called a meeting. The police were notified. The district sent an email about inappropriate use of digital devices, but outside the office walls, panic spread. The next morning, Hannah's locker was open. Inside was a folded note. "You don't need your phone to hear from me." She froze. There were no cameras near that row of lockers. No one had seen who left it. That night, she sat in her room, staring at the dark reflection in her laptop screen. The small green light on her webcam flickered once, then twice. Her breath caught. Was it just a glitch? Her phone buzzed. Smile. By midweek, things had escalated. The police traced the numbers, all prepaid burners, each one purchased from a different store across multiple cities. No pattern, no name. The school held an assembly about digital safety, but no one was listening. Rumors were flying that the unknown number wasn't a person at all, but a group. Some students said it was an ex-boyfriend's revenge prank. Others whispered about a dark web challenge. But Hannah knew better. She could feel the eyes on her. In class, her teacher noticed her shaking hands. "You okay?" She nodded, but her phone was already lighting up again. "Stop pretending you don't see me." Detective Mark Ellison, a cybercrime investigator, arrived that Friday. A calm, middle-aged, D-man with sharp eyes and a quiet voice. He'd seen dozens of online harassment cases. But something about this one felt different. When he reviewed Hannah's texts, he noticed a strange rhythm. Short bursts of messages, always sent at certain hours. 41 p.m., 3:07 a.m., 6:12 a.m., always precise, always timed like someone following a routine. "Who has this kind of access?" he asked her parents. Her father shook his head. "We don't know. She doesn't talk to strangers. She barely goes out." Ellison's team checked for spyware. Nothing. GPS tracking, clean, social media leaks, none. Yet the messages continued. Saturday morning, Hannah woke up to a new kind of message. "Check your window." She hesitated, then pulled the curtain slightly. Across the street, a black sedan sat idling. No one inside, or at least no one visible. She ran to her parents' room, but by the time they looked, the car was gone. That day, Ellison installed a temporary tap on her phone, hoping to trace the signal source. But what came next confused even him. The next text came through, but not to Hannah's number. It appeared directly on her school-issued iPad using her full name. That meant whoever it was had access to Ridgefield High's private digital system, someone from inside. That revelation changed everything. This wasn't just harassment, it was infiltration. The police launched a quiet internal review. Teachers were questioned, student devices inspected, but still the messages kept arriving, always one step ahead of the investigation. You think you can trace me? You're too late. Late that night, Ellison sat in his car outside Hannah's home, watching her front porch camera feed. Everything seemed still until 2:17 a.m., when motion alerts triggered. The footage showed a shadow moving across the lawn, slow, deliberate, and disappearing before reaching the window. Minutes later, a new message arrived on Hannah's phone. I left something for you. By sunrise, police combed the yard. They found it, a small USB drive placed under her bedroom window. No fingerprints, no note, just a single file inside, labeled Smile Move. The video was only 6 seconds long. It showed Hannah sitting at her desk from the night before, typing on her laptop. The video was recorded from her own webcam. Her scream brought her parents running. Ellison rushed to the scene within minutes. He played the video once, silently. Then again, slower, the camera angle, the timing, the detail. Whoever recorded it had full remote access to her device. This isn't just stalking, he said. This is someone inside her digital life. Hannah deleted every app, shut down her Wi-Fi, even removed the laptop battery. But when she turned her phone back on to call Alyssa, there was another message waiting. It's not over. You can't block me. That night, the town of Ridgefield stopped sleeping. Parents disconnected routers, students deleted their social media, teachers walked to their cars in pairs. And still, the unknown number kept messaging. Detective Ellison began cross-referencing patterns from other nearby schools, and what he found left him speechless. 3 other high schools, 4 other girls, all receiving identical messages, the same timestamps, the same chilling signature, the same ending. Smile. When he matched the data from each phone, one shared contact appeared across all devices. Not a name, but a system address belonging to Ridgefield High's IT department. It couldn't be. But when the police went to search the office, the door was locked. And the system admin, a young man named Carter Hale, hadn't shown up for work in 3 days. Inside his cubicle was a single sticky note, left on his monitor. You were looking for me. The ghost in the system. Ridgefield High had seen fear before. Fire alarms, lockdown drills, even viral rumors. But never like this. The DIS. The discovery of the missing IT admin, Carter Hale, turned the quiet suburban school into a crime scene overnight. His office had been sealed off, servers pulled for forensic imaging, and police patrols stationed outside Hannah Williams' home around the clock. But the messages didn't stop. That same morning, Hannah's mother woke to find a notification on her phone, a message sent from Hannah's own number. You can't protect her anymore. Except Hannah was asleep in the next room. Detective Mark Ellison was back at the house by 6 a.m., holding 2 cups of coffee and a face full of exhaustion. He had spent the night running Carter's name through every law enforcement database he could access. Carter Hale, 24 years old, former tech intern turned system administrator. Clean record, quiet. Described by coworkers as the kind of guy who always wore headphones and never made eye contact. But one detail stood out. 2 years earlier, Carter had volunteered with a local youth mentorship program, one connected to Ridgefield High. That program was run by a company called Bright Path Digital, a tech nonprofit that managed school communications, homework apps, and student databases. It was the same platform used to send every single one of Hannah's class notifications. At the school, detectives began digging through Carter's computer. What they found was unsettling. A private folder buried deep in the system, labeled Projects. Inside were hundreds of screenshots, not just from Hannah, but from students across multiple schools in the district. Photos, emails, text transcripts, all scraped from cloud accounts. This isn't a catfish, Ellison muttered. It's surveillance. The deeper they went, the stranger it got. Carter's system was wired through a network of anonymous servers, all hosted offshore. Every few minutes, the system pinged an address register under a single handle, Unknown User 404, the same alias that had been sending messages to Hannah. By noon, the FBI had joined the investigation. Special Agent Lauren Vega, a cyber forensics expert from Seattle, arrived with a team and a grim expression. "If this is what it looks like," she told Ellison, "you're dealing with someone who doesn't just stalk people, he studies them." She explained that the pattern of text messages matched a known cyberstalking method called social mirroring, where attackers mimic their victims' behavior online to make them believe they're being watched in real time. "It's psychological warfare," Vega said. "He's not just trying to scare her, he's trying to make her question what's real." Meanwhile, Hannah was barely holding together. The constant police presence helped her feel safe, but only for a while. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped. Every reflection, the bathroom mirror, the car window, even her laptop screen, felt like eyes staring back. That night, she sat with her dad on the couch, watching local news coverage of the case. Her own name wasn't mentioned, but the headline was enough to make her stomach twist. "Cyberstalker targets Ridgefield High students. Suspect missing." Her dad put his arm around her. "We're going to get through this," he whispered. But as the words left his mouth, Hannah's phone lit up again. "I like your new haircut." She hadn't posted any new photos. At FBI headquarters in Portland, Agent Vega's team made a breakthrough. The IP addresses from Carter's system were rerouting through a virtual network located in Montreal, Canada, one that masked all incoming signals. But one slip-up changed everything. At exactly 3:41 a.m., an unmasked signal briefly appeared from a location in Eugene, Oregon, only 40 miles away. They tracked it to an abandoned storage unit registered under a fake name. When officers arrived, they expected to find Carter. Instead, they found something worse. Rows of computer towers, dozens of old-school laptops, their stickers still reading, "Property of Ridgefield High," a monitor still running, its screen filled with lines of code. And, in the corner, a window displaying live camera feeds from student bedrooms, hallways, and computer screens. Someone had built a full-scale surveillance system, and it was still active. The unit was filled with clues, fingerprints, receipts, and a whiteboard filled with usernames. But one detail sent chills down everyone's spine. Pinned to the wall was a printed photo of Hannah Williams. Underneath it, in red ink, "Primary subject, Phase 3 complete." Detective Ellison stood frozen. "Phase 3 of what?" he muttered. Agent Vega zoomed in on Carter's name scribbled next to others, aliases, usernames, and payment logs. They discovered transactions from anonymous cryptocurrency wallets linked to something called the Looking Glass Network, a dark web forum used by digital predators who traded private data and surveillance access. Carter wasn't working alone. He was part of a collective. The revelation hit Hannah's town like a storm. Parents pulled their kids out of school. Teachers deleted their online profiles. The internet felt poisoned. Every camera, every device now a potential threat. But there was something else. While analyzing one of Carter's old hard drives, Vega found fragments of recorded video sessions. Most were corrupted, but one file played clearly. It showed Carter sitting in his office, typing. His camera flickered, then a text box appeared on screen. "You think you're in control? We're not done until she breaks." Carter stared at the message, his face pale. He typed one reply. "I did what you asked." Then, silence. Someone was controlling too. The case that once seemed like a lone catfish was unraveling into something far more dangerous. An organized ring using school networks to manipulate students for psychological experiments, harassment, and blackmail. The next step was to locate Carter. For 2 days, police and FBI agents combed through surveillance footage, financial transactions, and border records. Then, on the morning of April 2nd, they found his car, abandoned at a gas station off Route 58, the windows rolled down, the keys still in the ignition. Inside, a single envelope sat on the passenger seat. On it was written, in the same red ink as before, Phase 4. Agent Vega opened it carefully. Inside was a printed screenshot, a social media profile belonging to Alyssa Green, Hannah's best friend. Next to it, a timestamp, April 3rd, 9 p.m. Ellison's heart sank. That's tomorrow. It wasn't just Hannah anymore. The unknown number had moved on to its next target. That night, Alyssa received her first text. "You shouldn't have helped her," she called Hannah in tears. "It's me now. He's after me." Hannah's parents called Ellison immediately, but by the time police arrived, Alyssa's phone was gone. Her car sat in her driveway, the front door wide open. And on her desk, her phone buzzing non-stop, message after message from unknown number. "I told you not to interfere. Phase 4 begins." The room went silent. For the first time, Detective Ellison couldn't promise that things would be okay. The digital ghost they were chasing had stepped into the real world, and now he wasn't just watching, he was hunting. Phase 4. When the police entered Alyssa Green's house, it was eerily quiet. The lights were still on, her backpack was open on the table, and a half-finished glass of water sat beside her phone. But Alyssa was gone. Detective Mark Ellison picked up the buzzing phone from the desk. It was still vibrating from the flood of messages. Each one came from a different burner number, but they all said the same thing. Phase 4 begins. It was 9:04 p.m., exactly the time printed on the envelope found in Carter Hale's car. He looked at Agent Lauren Vega, whose jaw tightened as she scanned the timestamps. "They're on schedule," she said quietly. "Whoever's behind this, they're following a plan, a structured system." The FBI issued a statewide alert that night. Alyssa's photo was circulated to every news outlet in Oregon. Within hours, Ridgefield, once an ordinary suburban town, became the epicenter of a nationwide cybercrime investigation. But the more the police searched, the clearer it became that this was no ordinary catfishing case. At 2:17 a.m., the cyber unit intercepted a signal, a login attempt from one of Alyssa's old social media accounts. The IP traced back to a motel outside Eugene, just miles from where Carter Hale's car was found. By dawn, Ellison and Vega were already en route. The motel was run down, neon sign flickering, paint pea, Ling, the kind of place people went to disappear. Room 109 was registered under a fake name, paid in cash. When they entered, the room was empty, but the smell of burned plastic and overheated wires filled the air. A laptop sat melted on the bed, still faintly humming. The only intact object was a single envelope taped to the wall. Inside, another printed note. "She's safe, for now." And underneath it, a line of code written in black marker. "Trace failed. Redirect to origin." Back at the FBI field office, Vega's analysts ran the code. It pointed to an online domain hidden behind 7 layers of encryption, a private chat server hosted through the Looking Glass network, the same forum Carter had been linked to. The title of the server, Project Ghostlink. And inside, chat logs, hundreds of them, dozens of usernames, conversations about targeting students, collecting data, testing reactions. It wasn't about money, it was about control. They were running psychological experiments, manipulating fear, identity, and digital trust. And at the top of every conversation, a single moderator tag appeared over and over again. User 01, the Watcher. When Vega cross-referenced the Watcher's metadata, she found something that stopped her cold. The first activity log from the server dated 2 years before the harassment began. And the originating IP address? Ridgefield High School. Not Carter Hale's computer. Not a teacher's, but a student account. Hannah's. For hours, they couldn't make sense of it. Hannah was the victim, not the attacker, but the evidence was undeniable. The first message sent through the system came from her school login, back when she was only 14. Her account had been used to set up the earliest version of the Ghostlink network. Ellison stared at the monitor, his voice low. "So, what are you telling me? She built this? Vega Chassis?" Oak her head. "No, she was used. Someone cloned her profile years ago. Whoever the Watcher is, they started with her identity. That was the motive. The stalking wasn't random, it was personal." At the Williams home, Hannah was pale and shaking when Ellison broke the news. "You're not in trouble," he said softly. "But we think whoever's behind this used your name to build something much bigger." She looked at him in disbelief. "You mean they've been pretending to be me?" "More than that," Vega added. "They've been using your name to hide their entire operation." Then came the call. A truck driver passing through an industrial park on the outskirts of Eugene reported seeing a teenage girl walking alone near the warehouses, matching Alyssa's description. Within minutes, Ellison and Vega were speeding down Highway 9, sirens cutting through the rain. When they arrived, they found her, barefoot, dazed, shivering beneath the glow of a streetlight. Alyssa's eyes were empty, her hands trembling as she handed Vega a phone. It wasn't hers. It was Hannah's old phone, the one she'd thrown away weeks ago. The phone had one message on the screen. "They're not gone, they're already inside," and beneath it, a link. When Vega clicked it, the phone froze, the screen filling with a single phrase repeating in white letters over black. "The Watcher sees all." Then the phone shut off completely. Forensic teams later confirmed the link had triggered a self-destruct sequence, wiping every trace of data from Ghostlink's servers. The entire network vanished overnight. It was as if it had never existed. Weeks passed. Ridgefield slowly returned to normal. The news cycle moved on. Hannah and Alyssa transferred schools, changed their numbers, and tried to rebuild their lives. But Ellison couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't over. 3 months later, a package arrived at the FBI field office in Portland. No return address. Inside was a USB drive, labeled only with a smiley face. The file inside was a recording, CCTV footage from Ridgefield High's IT office. The date stamp, the night Carter Hale disappeared. The video showed Carter sitting at his desk, typing quickly. He looked panicked. Then a window popped up on his screen, a video call. The figure on the other end was masked by distortion, voice scrambled. "Phase 4 is complete. You did well, Carter." "You said she wouldn't get hurt," Carter whispered. "She didn't, but someone had to." The figure leaned closer to the camera. For a split second, their face came into focus. It wasn't a man, it was a woman, someone in her late 20s with sharp eyes and familiar features. Agent Vega froze the frame, then zoomed in. The reflection on the office window showed her ID badge clipped to her jacket. Bright Path Digital, the same company that provided Ridgefield school software, and the same program Carter had once worked for. The truth hit them like a freight train. The cyberbullying wasn't a crime of obsession. It was an experiment, orchestrated by a tech firm testing how far they could push teenage fear through digital manipulation. The catfish wasn't one person. It was an entire system. And the woman in the video? Her name was Dr. Skye Borgman, listed in company records as a psychological research consultant. The same Skye Borgman who would later become a documentary filmmaker, the same one whose 2025 Netflix film would expose the case to the world. When the credits rolled on her documentary, the final frame contained a simple message, the same one that had haunted Hannah for months. "Smile, you're never really offline." If you thought this story was chilling, you're not ready for what comes next. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and stay tuned, because the next true crime we uncover will make you rethink everything you do online.